Hello, and welcome to The Kosh. I am your host, Timber Smith, and The Kosh is a podcast that spotlights people who have had an association with Oshkosh or the surrounding Fox Cities area. Good morning, Kosh listeners. How's everybody doing out there? Once again, we're here on what I will say is an early/crispy Saturday morning. It is very crisp out there. Took Bosco out, Bosco the podcast dog out for potty this morning. And I was like, whoa, that's brisk. But then again, I'm not going to complain because I know what people say, you know, it's Wisconsin, you should be used to it. Well, you know what? I don't know. I'm born and raised Wisconsin, and I'm never going to get used to certain levels of cold. It's when cold stings. That's when I've had it. You know, like cold, 20-degree cold I can live with. 2 degree when we get single-digit cold, particularly like lower single-digit cold, and it's like stinging cold, then I got problems. Now, you know what I'm about to say. I am super excited about who our guest is this week. Once again, I don't know how we're so blessed to always get great guests. But this week, once again, have a great guest. And without further ado, this week's guest is Mike Norton. And I like the fact that Mike's name is Mike Norton because guess what? I didn't slaughter it. I didn't mess it up. Mike, how are you doing over there?
I'm doing pretty good today, Kosh.
All right, cool. You ready to jump in?
Certainly am, yes. Go right ahead.
Okay, can you please share a little something about yourself and what is your connection to the Kosh?
Well, I'm Mike Norton. I'm a lifelong resident of the city of Oshkosh, over 57 years. I graduated from UW-Oshkosh in 1989 with a degree in history and political science. Obviously, I also graduated from Oshkosh West and have been a lifelong member almost all my life on the south side of Oshkosh. And currently, I'm a member of the Winnebago County Board representing District 20, which is the southeastern part of the city of Oshkosh.
Okay, I like that you gave the rundown of, like, seriously, all the, because, you know, I think there's a huge connection to people about which school did you go to, particularly the high schools. You know, that whole Northwest Lourdes thing is real here in Oshkosh.
Yes.
There's a big connection there. I don't know. I feel like maybe some of the lines are blurring. It's not as, it doesn't seem as hardcore as like some of the, what I will say is the older people who have attended now, you know, West and North kids kick it pretty regularly. And
I know I get a little kidding from my north side people who, you know, you're a south sider, I'm a north sider, just a little bit. Yeah. And my family, I have a pretty big family, the Norton family, and about half of them are on the north side and half of them are on the south side, yeah.
Yeah? Okay, so it's a pretty clean split. Is a lot of your family still here?
Oh, yes. I have 4 brothers and sisters. My father came of a very much bigger family. He had 16 kids, so they're spread all over the place.
Bruh. 16?
Yeah, 16.
That's the only number bigger than my wife's family,
you know,
which was 14.
16 kids and not a single set of twins in the whole bunch.
Yep. Oh, my God, that sounds familiar. All right, so what you are is you are related to the city, period. You're related to everybody.
Yes. Went to school here, went to college here, yes.
Yes.
Currently work at a pick and save and grocery store, so yes, I've very much embedded in this district. This city, yeah.
Okay, all right. I love it. We're going to jump into the first segment. And the first segment is what in the world is going on with. And that's where you start with the phrase, what in the world is going on? And then tell us what's on your mind.
Well, what's going on in the world with gas prices and fuel prices? And not only the prices of it, but also why we have such a big dependence on foreign oil. And another thing, you know, people complain about, and I can see it, I don't drive, but I can see why people complain about $4 or $5 gallons of gas. But, you know, like someone pointed out on social media said, you know, getting a gallon of coffee from like Starbucks would cost you $30, and people,
bruh,
and people won't think of nothing about going and paying for $6 for a cup of coffee, but you know, a $5 gallon of gas makes a big deal. I understand it's costly, and also why are we dependent on one source of fuel when we've had the ability, and we're going to have the ability in the future to have other forms of ways. Electricity, I think electric cars that we've heard a number of the automobile manufacturers are exclusively make those in the future. So that's one thing I don't totally understand, but that's a big deal, yeah.
I agree with you. Look, I get it. Gas is crazy. You know, it goes up and down, and you know, people want to have somebody to blame, but the key is you can't blame who you're blaming, because guess what they don't do? They don't control the gas prices. So I'm not a fan of that. I'm not a fan of the blame game politically of the whole gas price thing. And my other thing is this: we have the technology to get away from it. You know, the cars are out there. The technology is out there. You know, set up more of these battery things. I'm all about an electric car, because I'm a big geek and I would really like a really cool electric car that has all the bells and whistles and screens and all the other things that would come along with an electric car. But even more so, it just seems like, why do we put our economic stability and security in the hands of other nations by our dependency on gas? And I mean, we produce it here in the U.S., but we don't produce enough for all of us.
I agree. And why? I mean, didn't we go through this problem of depending on foreign oil, the Saudis in the late 80s, 70s, and 80s? I thought we would try to wean us off of that, but we haven't, unfortunately.
Well, it's because of capitalism.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's because others who own the oil here want to keep their money and just haven't decided to maybe vest in other things, or they probably have. I mean, but nonetheless, they're still trying to hold on to it, and it's like it's an old model. Mm-hmm. You know, we easily could be headed towards battery cars, mm-hmm. which to me would be awesome.
Correct. Yeah, and yeah.
As long as the price for battery cars comes down to the price of regular cars, that's the other thing, you know.
Right. And we work out how, I know the big issue in the state of Wisconsin is these electric charging units, and the big issue is, well, how do we get money to pay for a road? Because right now it gets paid for from the gas tax. Well, and that's one thing they're going to have to work out in the next year or two.
I don't think that's an impossible thing. You just change the tax model. I mean, right now, people got to realize you're paying tax all the time anyway for every gallon of gas you buy. So if that's not the way, there's just other ways we can find to tax that would make up that revenue. But I don't know. It just seems like we're too smart to not move in a more efficient direction.
I agree. Yes.
All right. My what in the world is going on with Aaron Rodgers and $200 million.
You've got that. I mean, $200 million. That's a whole lot of money, that's. I can't even fathom a portion of that. Much that's $200 million, and I don't want to change. I see what the Major League Baseball players that's agreed to, and they have a $700,000 minimum. That's wow. I mean, yeah, that's out there for making money. Yeah.
I'm just my bigger thing is this. Look, I'm not saying he's not worth money, lots of money, because he's one of the best, if not the best in the league, and has been consistency for a long, long time. But I do think it's a team sport, and you have to invest in the whole team. That's how you actually win Super Bowls. You don't win Super Bowls on one person's back. One great player does help you get there, but one great player does not get you there. And we've known that in other teams. We've seen that in other teams. It's a team sport. So you can't take up so much of the salary cap that the team can afford to surround you with other great players that are only going to make you greater.
Well, how are they going to afford to have the guards to protect them, to pass the ball? And how are they going to afford a defense to make sure that other teams doesn't score every time they get the ball? And that's what you're right. You have to not put all your eggs in one basket, because you have to spread out to have a team to win a team game. Yes.
Yeah, that's kind of my thought process. So like, I'm not saying we shouldn't pay him a good amount of money, but I do just worry at the point in which we pay, especially because we're a small market team. We pay that level, and then all of a sudden, we can't grab. I think back to when we kind of won that first championship that we had won in a long time. Well, Brett Favre couldn't do it by himself. It took them bringing Reggie White. Mm-hmm. Right. And so it is a team thing. So I just worry a little bit about that. I mean, maybe it'll all work out in the end, but I don't know. All right. Next segment, word association. Please, I'm going to say a word to you, and please tell me what comes to mind when I say it. First word, food.
When I think of food, I think of something crunchy, usually and filling. My favorite food, I'm not a big cook, but I obviously I like to eat. And for food, give me fish. Friday fish fries is a big mainstay here in Wisconsin. A big fan of that. Chicken, also Italian food. But yeah, like I said, that's my mainstay. When I say food, those are what I like the most. People say I'm picky. Maybe I'm not. I say I'm a perfect Gemini because, I'm picking some things and not picking other things. And some things I'm not. I could be very satisfied with what I eat, like things like this bread or that. But when I think of food, fish and chips are probably a mainstay, and chicken, yeah.
Do we got a favorite spot to get those?
No, I try to go to Mr. Cinder's and Sherman House and other places. No, not one familiar place. I like Perch. I will say, there's a place that used to be in my area. Unfortunately, it's closed down. I ever had schwai, very interesting fish. I mean, a friend of mine took it on schwai. That was a very interesting seafood to eat.
Okay, schwai.
Schwai, yeah.
All right, that's new.
Yes.
I don't know what that is.
Oh, that was used to be served at the Uptown Cafe restaurant. Now it's no longer there, but I've never had it, but it tasted interesting. Not, it wasn't very fishy tasting, but it tasted good.
Okay, do we got a favorite chicken spot?
No, not really. No, I just like fried chicken. It used to be roasted chicken. It used to be for Red's Pizza, but they're closed. But no, I'm not really. I have a favorite chicken spot. Yeah.
Okay, that's fair. I will say that so far, I like my fish spot is Jensen's right now. I enjoy Jensen's. They do a good job, particularly because of pike. Pike, you just can't get that everywhere. Enjoy that. And then I think no one does chicken better than Parnell's. Parnell's just handles it.
Oh, right. And Parnell's is very good for not just fish, but they're infamous for their like $3.99, whatever, Sunday chicken dinners.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. That chicken dinner. Yeah, that's chicken dinner on Sunday. I mean, that's family friendly.
Oh, yeah, it's very family friendly. Yeah. Affordable and good eats, yes.
All right, next words. Cocktail, beer.
Well, I'm more of a beer drinker. My parents used to own a tavern for 25 years, so I guess that's where I got it first. But I will say for cocktail, my indulgence, because I like ice cream, I love Brandy Alexander's. I used to hey, give me some of the ice cream. So that's one of my drinks. I don't have a lot, but that's one of my cocktails.
I don't even know what a Brandy Alexander is. But I know share on that one, Mike.
I know it has ice. Oh, I know ice cream. That's why I had a friend of mine. He used to work at bartender, and he gave me. I said, "Give me the ice cream." I know the ice cream. I couldn't tell you what else is in it. Amaretto, but that's my Brandy Alexander. Obviously, brandy. That's cocktail wise. That's what I'd have.
Okay. Streaming.
Well, streaming. I was thinking about this. I used to be a fan of streaming. Shameless. Boy, you ever see that show? I've
never seen that show.
Unfortunately, it's gone off the air. But boy, I had a couple friends of mine. They hooked me on that show, and I just got hooked. Watched Shameless about how interesting how people live their lives. And this was Chicago. It also originally took place in England, but Frank Gallagher, who was a very interesting character, and Shameless because he'll do anything to live life and go from day to day. Very interesting show. That's my one of my favorites.
Okay. I've never seen Shameless, but I have heard really good things about it. Where does that stream from?
Well, it's been Showtime.
Showtime.
And so other streaming show. I used to watch a little bit the Handmaid's Tale. I used to watch that a little bit. It did go streaming. Another one was Designated Survivor, which went from ABC to Hulu. But yeah, those types. I'm a big connoisseur or big advocate for either comedies or shows that are history/politically related, whether the comedies or not. So yes, I was a big fan of West Wing, but I also was a fan of a show like Vice, which was a comedy show about
about the vice president. Yeah. You know what? I've never watched any episodes of Vice, but I mean Vice was talked about a lot, so it had to be hilarious.
Or Veep. I'm sorry, not Vice. Veep. That's
Veep.
Veep.
Yeah, you're right.
Vice
it is Veep.
Yeah, Veep.
Yeah, I think Vice was the movie about Dick Cheney. Shop local.
I shop at places like Goodwill. I mean, a good price, good value.
Yes, I'm all about that.
I mean, other places, other than that, the usual Targets and Walmart. But yeah, there are a number of different shops that are local. I don't really go shopping a lot, to tell you the truth.
No, that's not you, huh?
No, that is me. I mean, if I would want to go find some, I would maybe go to a local spot. But basically, like, I don't know, Goodwill's because I guess a good value. Yeah, but yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Pets.
I don't have a pet, but I used to have a pet. I'm a big dog fan. That's why I like
Bosco, the podcast dog.
I do, and I really like that. I don't mind cats. I just I like dogs over cats because dogs. I know when Bosco's around. Cats sometimes you don't know when they're around. I had a sister who has a sister who has like 3-4 cats, and she'd have a cat be way up on the 3rd floor and harder to come down. But a dog, a dog's around. They're good for the friendship, to keep you company, and also they'll know when people around who shouldn't be around. They're good guard dogs or good. Keep you aware of who's around. So yeah, that's why I'm more of a dog person. Used to have a beautiful German Shepherd growing up. Greatest dog, I would think. Boy, she was not afraid of any other dog or other people, and she would protect other. We had 2 dogs, and she'd protect other dogs. So yeah.
I am enjoying my dog life right now, and I'm with you. Cats are sneaky.
Yeah.
Well, some cats are. I mean, some cats are super cool and they come and hang out, but I don't know. Me and cats don't. Well, first of all, me and cats don't get along because I puff up and I'm super allergic to cats. So like it's not good. Okay. But dogs, love dogs.
Right. Like as long as they don't come and bite me, or I don't mind me barking. I don't like them being barking. I don't mind being affectionate like your dog, but they come want to chew at me. That's different. Yeah, and so yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure I'm a fan of the biting dog either.
and you walk the street and you get these dogs, and you see dogs are not on a chain or anything. Well, are they going to come at me? And that's when usually the owner says, well, they're friendly. I said, oh, okay, but I'll trust you. But somebody I don't trust them. I walk down the street and I see a dog without a leash. I walk to the other side of the street because I don't know how friendly that dog can be.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that either. I think if you got your dog and you're out in public, just keep it on a leash.
Right.
Because you just never know. I mean, I do think by far the majority of dogs are super friendly, and owners do know their dogs, but you just never know. I think like Bosco every once in a while can get spooked, like a really loud noise. Like loud noises spooks Bosco, and then like if he was to run, we're going to chase. Otherwise, he's too spoiled to leave. But you never know what a spooking can do, you know.
Okay. Yes, I understand. Yep.
Community.
I think community is getting involved. Community, I've been involved in a number of different things. I used to be, for many years, I used to work for the rec department in various capacities, being both an umpire and a referee and whatever. I used to be a member of the softball commission, which was really sometimes tougher than being a supervisor at times. You had to make the rules sometimes. And got involved in that. I also got involved, I have been for many years, I was on the transit advisory board and meet the needs of making sure people can get from place to place in the city. But community is getting to be the sense of we all need to help each other, and we all are in this thing together to make the community better. And that's what I think community is.
Let me ask you a question, if you don't mind.
Sure.
What made you get so involved in the public sector?
I guess because I've very early, people have their geeky things or whatever. I was always involved when I was younger, involved in not political things, but those type of issues. I remember, I had this very interesting nickname, Zoot, in 8th grade, and that got me elected to the homeroom representative to the student council. That kind of propelled it. And then history and political history was my major, and I always had interest. I thought history was the easiest. I thought one of the easiest to follow, and I got interested in that way. And that led me to civic affairs and political affairs. One day I got appointed to the Citizen Advisory Committee. One thing left to another. I got there to serve on the AVCAP Board of Directors, and bang, I was on a number of involved in other community-related organizations or boards. And yeah, so I guess the sense of maybe giving back to the community and having a voice and a say. And if you want to get involved in something, you have to be involved, and that's what I did, and that's why I've been involved in a number of different things.
I think it's so important to get involved in. I think local government is super important to get involved in because it's easy to ignore, right? I think the consensus is we're all busy, we're all working, and as long as it's not on fire, we'll just let it do what it does. But I think it's too important because it affects your everyday life every day, and you don't necessarily realize it, which shows good government to me.
I mean, I got involved in local government by my other, I was a member of the League of Home Voters, and because I was a member of the League of Voters, I got appointed to be on the AVCAP Board of Directors, and I got appointed I used to go to the meetings with a fellow county board supervisor, and I used to ask, what are you guys doing, this and that, and after a while, in 1998, when I first ran, I lost. I said, well, I'm going to take a shot at this. I saw some of the things that the county board was not doing, county government, and I said, let's get involved. I want to get involved in issues, and I said that I wanted to reach out and find a better way to communicate with the constituents, the public, and I have tried. I tried early. I used to have newsletters and town hall meetings. Want to do that again, and I still do it a little bit by having a Facebook page where I post the agendas for things. But I think you have to include and inform the public of what county government, local government is. I have a measure the last few years, and this year, April is County Government Month. And I said, well, let's just proclaim it County Government Month. Let's find ways with live events or virtual events or whatever to educate and inform people what county government is, because I don't think that many people really know what that does.
No, I agree.
You know,
I agree. I'm not even sure I fully understand all of what county does, and I like to think of myself as at least paying attention.
okay.
You know, but county does touch a lot of things, and I also don't think people think about the fact of how county affects residential when you're not in the main city stay. You know, and how those decisions are playing.
I would say county government affects more those people who live in a town outside the city of Oshkosh, or any of the cities, any of the, we do have, yes, we have services that apply to everyone, but county roads basically are outside the city. And other planning and zoning, what we do in planning and zoning is those places outside the city. That doesn't mean, you know, we have human services needs, parks, and public safety, which obviously encompasses all the cities and everyone in Winnebago County. But yeah, you are correct. There's people in the town a lot more acute of what county government does.
Okay. Next segment. The Kosh's Hidden Gems. This is your opportunity to share something, and maybe everybody does know about it, but maybe they don't know certain details about it or how cool it is. But your opportunity to share a hidden gem of the Kosh.
Our hidden gem is I'm on the Winnebago County Parks Committee, and hidden gem is the Wakaw Dam area, which is a little south and west of the city. Oshkosh, but Wakaw Dam area, it's interesting. You know, they have carp go through, but also
the carp definitely. Oh my God, the carp go through.
You know what I found out when we returned? That used to be a delicacy back in the 1920s. They used to take the carp there and they'd ship them out to New York, and that was a delicacy in New York. Who knew? Also, it's very unique because we have a nature preserve there that is open 24 hours. Every day of the year, so you can go right now and it's open. What also is very neat, I found out that a couple of years, thanks to I believe the Oshkosh Bicycle Club, we now have a mountain bike area.
I didn't know that. Now that's a new one,
bruh. It's right near where the Wakaw Nature Preserve is, and from what I was been told, is that is like a gem because people who bring their bikes that area from Madison and other southern areas will come here just for that, and I hope that people really appreciate that area, the Wakaw Nature Preserve, the preserve itself, the dam, but also the mountain bike area. It's like 3 miles. They have even an area where, for those who are more advanced, can be challenged a little bit. So that's the gem of the Winnebago County Parks system. Yeah. What
I will say is, now I haven't gone to Wakaw in ages. Like I knew about Wakaw actually around the time when in the 90s, let's say mid to late 90s, and I used to go fishing there, and that was the spot, and those carps were crazy there, and it was kind of like a perch breeding ground too. So like you wouldn't catch any perch you could keep, but all these little perches were around. But it was just a cool area. But I haven't gone there never, so I don't know what it looks like now.
Now you've been to we do have to fix up the dam area a little bit, but yeah. And there's like I think there's a bridge I know we have to fix up, but yeah.
Okay. Wakaw. That's a good one. Love it. What's the Kosh need?
I think Kosh needs what I call diversity of places we have plenty of Mexican restaurants, but I was talking to my good friend, I think our mutual friend, Lateria, and she said, Mike, to get my hair done, I have to go to Appleton, and I've heard other things like people. I don't want the proper word is called urban clothing or urban. They have to go up to Appleton, so I think a more diversity of places like that. I know we're getting a little bit more, but that would help. Also, maybe more where this diversity celebration is an issue. I'm on the Diversity Affairs Committee. We might have what we call, quote unquote, a diversity fair where we highlight some of these businesses. But I think that's one thing that may be needed in Oshkosh.
I get, and I do know Lateria very well. Shout out to Lateria. I agree with that. I mean, it goes bigger than that. And I mean, their diversity of food, diversity to be able to get the things that you need. So let me be the perfect example. I was here before. There were barbers here who could do black hair. And because of that, what I had to do was just go to the good old trusty bald head. God bless Michael Jordan for making the bald head super sexy at some point and being able to just go to a bald head. But I went to a bald head because I couldn't go to Milwaukee all the time to maintain a haircut. And that was just it. I had to just depend on, at the time, my girlfriend and now my wife to just shave me up and make me look good. All right. And a bald head, you can't really mess that one up too bad. So there, the fact that now that we actually have some barbers, but it's more than that. And I mean, now like places like Walmart and Walgreens do carry products for diverse people, helps, but there's even, the area has changed. It's going to continue to change. There's no going back. You can't put the genie back in that box now.
You are exactly correct. And we have to get this because for us to thrive and grow, you're going to have to attract. We're losing workers, and we're getting older, and to attract new workers from other areas, we're going to have to be diversified in other things. I think one reason why Oshkosh Corp was thinking about going either to the suburbs of our Chicago or the suburbs of the Washington, Baltimore. Why? They have many of these things that we don't currently have.
But we could.
We could.
And there just needs to be a will. There needs to be a will by the community.
And I don't know why we have to do Appleton or Milwaukee. I think, why can't we have it here? And I think that makes people more comfortable, want to stay in an area, grow when they see they have these opportunities and choices.
Oh, yeah. It makes a huge difference. And as somebody who works in Appleton and has a community-focused job, and so I get to have a lot of conversations, having access and having better yet, cultural representation economically changes how people feel about staying in the area, right? And I don't know if, and if you don't think that's important, then you don't think the economy and the economics locally are important. Because the one thing I will tell you about the trends is the populations of diverse people are growing exponentially, but the population of white people are not. It is shrinking. So don't shrink your opportunity and profitability out of existence. And this is why jobs or different companies are looking at other places.
I agree. You're exactly right. I mean, yes. And why you would pick a suburb of one of the big cities to go rather than stay local, or even think about coming to a place that's, I guess we're considered a suburban area, but that doesn't mean we can't be a diverse suburban area.
Yes, it very much can be a diverse suburban area. And why not? And actually, I'm a firm believer, and I try to share this message whenever I can. We all live the places we do because we all want the same things. And it's something we got to constantly remind ourselves. People move to the region or remain in the region because of safety, great schools, less traffic, pace of life, more affordability for cost of living. All the reasons that you stay here are the reason that marginalized populations choose to move here or have been here and stay here and grow families here. And people need to realize that and quit looking at it like, well, why are they coming? Well, why do you live here? It's the same things. So, love that. Okay. Next segment, the Naughty/Heroes Corner. This is your opportunity to play somebody, something, a thing, organization or whatnot into the Naughty or Heroes Corner, who would you like to nominate?
I'm going to nominate Beth Roberts. Beth Roberts is the director of the ADRC in Winnebago County. She is a phenomenal woman, phenomenal person. She not only directs the ADRC, and she's gotten the ADRC to move to help seniors issues by getting a dementia care specialist a couple years ago. She's very involved in senior housing by I may talk about that later, because she led the drive. We're having a presentation on Monday about Winnebago County housing in general. When I wanted to start a Diversity Affairs Commission, she helped me on that. As you know, the state of Wisconsin just gave Winnebago County a little bit over a $10 million grant award to help fight homelessness in this county. And Beth Roberts will have an ADRC-like center, a one-stop thing to help people whose needs are housing and try to end homelessness. Beth Roberts is a phenomenal person. I think she's a undeserved and not hero. I think people it's normal, but I think she's a great hero.
Shout out to Beth Roberts. Okay. Well, you know, I don't know if you know, but it's time. You now know that is the sound for when it is time for Topic of the Week. So Topic of the Week is always chosen by our guest. And Mike, what is our Topic of the Week this week?
My topic is senior needs and senior housing in the next decades to come. We are increasingly becoming more and more older. Getting more and more older. And what we have to address, a couple of different things. First of all, I mentioned before, senior housing. Senior housing that's not just affordable, but accessible. And when I mean accessible, I mean I don't think seniors are going to have to be able to live in 2-3-story homes. Unless we're going to build a lot of different complexes with elevators, I think we're going to have to create and build senior-friendly communities that are single-family dwellings, which would be a part of that would be a convenience store or a beauty/barbershop where they go, and it would be close to them go by. Related to that is senior needs about making sure they're being taken care of at home. I learned at a national conference where one county sends to seniors, they give them a nurse, they send a handyman, and they hand a physical therapist just for initial visit to see what are their needs. I think that's something that we should look into to keep seniors in their homes, keep them so they can live comfortably and so their well-being, both physically themselves and their homes. So those are big needs that are coming up. Senior needs, senior housing, and other things.
Okay. I think it's super, with, as they say, there's this growing population of people who are aged because people are living longer, right? And so we need that housing. I actually heard at one point, part of what's happening with our housing market, because all of the houses on fire, right? And for a while, it was always, you need these 3 bedrooms, you need a bath and a half or 2 bathrooms, these kinds of things. Well, what you have are seniors who are moving out of their big homes and moving into smaller homes. And so the other starter homes that people normally would buy to start with, those are on fire for our seniors. They're trying to downsize. And so that's something to think about, too, as far as what's happening with our housing crunch.
Correct. And, the city of Oshkosh just released their housing study. And not only do they need dwellings or housing for affordable to attract people, but I didn't know this was a big issue in Oshkosh. But I guess they call it the executive housing. I didn't think that was a big issue, but I guess that's a big issue too. I thought realtors helped them out that way, but yeah. And if you have people who are upper income levels, take the housing that's probably more suitable for people in middle incomes, then where do they go? And that's where the housing shortage goes.
Right. That's our crunch right now. Solutions. What do you think?
Solutions. I think we have to work with developers and work with other planners. I think a senior-friendly living facility or area. There are areas we're addressing the needs for some of the population. There's a tiny homes project that's probably going to be built north of town here. That is for parents and people of school age children, but a senior friendly area, not necessarily assisted living, but an area, be a group of homes of single one dwellings, and maybe, like I said, that area, there'd be a convenience store or something like that, so they could do their shopping and won't have to depend about going out to miles away. So that possible solution.
What I would love to see Oshkosh do, particularly on this side of town, which is the north side as they phrase it, but I
there you
live
go
really,
again, Josh.
there you go. Really, I live on the east side. I'd like to see more condo options, because I think that's a senior option. I think as you get older, not everybody wants to maintain that yard, and I would like more condo options. Not necessarily big condos, or anything like that, or I don't need a yard either. I'd like some more apartment condo options. Like one thing I've always heard, and this has been said to me by numerous people, is that the complex over there on 100 Main, people would love to buy those units because they love the location and they love their unit as a condo. And I would like to see some options like that, not necessarily on this side of town, so to say, be available, because I do think there's a huge market for that.
Okay. Yes, and I think that's going to attract the 25 to 40 or 45-year-old market. I thought and I believe the city was addressing that, or hopefully down by where I live, by Main and 9th and around that area. That's what that was geared towards.
I don't think they're going to be condos. Okay. I think they're going to be apartments. I know that they're looking at options for there, but from what I read, and I could be wrong, those were not being advertised as like a condo option where you can purchase. It was more of an apartment option. So there was just going to be more apartments available. And I think there's something to, we've for a long time have told everybody, you purchase so you can build equity. And so that's why condos are attractive for those people who maybe we're past the point of having the time, the will, or the ability to maintain a full house, but we still want to own for the option to build equity.
And you make a good point there. We had someone from an HRC committee, and he said, well, I just don't want to give, and maybe not a big yard, but they maybe want a little yard, and they don't want to totally give up some of the things that they have when they go to assisted living.
Right.
They still want that feel of their home. So a condo, and also for anyone, a condo, they say, well, why pay $600, $700, $800, whatever it is, rent when you can pay that towards a mortgage or whatever, and you have equity when you do that.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. So I would just like to see more condo options, because I think condos are a great senior option, because these are people who have owned often for their lifetimes,
right?
And
correct.
So what else? Anything else you would like to add about senior needs here?
No, just like I think there's a very increasing need. Like, when I said the place where they being able to fix things around their home, that's a big need. People need handyman.
Oh yeah,
and
I need a handyman.
I mean, and they may need someone just to come paint something, or little small jobs, which may be hard to find someone to do. But if we could find some way to have a list of handyman who would be willing to do that, I'm sure we could find them enough, not work, but at least with us. And like I say, in these places, they assess the place. They're like, oh, you need this and that. And then later they come back and they'll find a way to fix it. And that's also, another concern of both is making sure that the social ability of seniors about where they can they're not just living all by themselves, that they can find activities with others, either of their own age or people in general, that they can engage in so that they have social mobility. So that would be a good thing for neighborhoods. I do know a few years ago there was an initiative or thing where in the East Side Neighborhood Association, they had to find a way to get older guys with middle-aged or younger guys, and they found a common thing, and that was cars. And that brought some common things so they could share, and I think that's what needed, being able to connect with those seniors and give them some sociability so they don't think they're all alone. And that can be in many different forms.
I agree. Okay. What about, because I think you can't talk about seniors and senior needs without talking about senior health care.
True, and right, and like that's why you have to include a nurse, and you have to check on them, both their physical needs, and maybe you get assessment. A big need for the general public is mental needs, and that's going to be I keep on here, and I know the next number of years, mental health needs were a big concern before the pandemic. It's going to be a big concern after pandemic.
Enormous concern.
And I think you're correct. That's why I think we need to find ways to connect with those seniors, both not just their physical health, but also their mental health.
Absolutely. Okay. So this is the time of the show. Well, let me give you one more opportunity. Is there anything else you would like to say about senior needs?
No. I mean, I think that's good. I think senior housing, and when they're in their senior housing, make them keep them active as much as they can, and making sure that their health and mental and their physical needs of their home are taken care of. Yeah, that's
agreed. All right. So, Mike, this is the time of the show where we start winding down because we're headed towards the end of the show. And I just want to say thank you, everyone, for taking the time to listen. As always, my Kosh listeners out there, thank you. You guys are so loyal. Appreciate the emails and other ways that you message me and reach out to me. Once again, please feel free to reach out if you'd like to be a guest. Mike, that's how Mike got on here, right? Yes. And so that is email me at askthekosh@gmail.com. Once again, that is email me at askthekosh@gmail.com. We have a new website, so you can reach out at thekoshpodcast.com. That is thekoshpodcast.com. Don't hesitate to send messages. I need people to leave us reviews. Tell people what you like, don't like, love the Kosh, hate the Kosh, whichever it is. Tell us something so we can continue to grow. And once again, still waiting on that first message to come through for the new segment we want to start called Ask the Kosh. And you would call and leave us a voicemail at 920-385-9298. Once again, Ask the Kosh. Leave the message voicemail at 920-385-9298. All right, that would be fantastic if we could get a couple of questions so somebody like me and Mike can sit down and address them. You'd be game for that, Mike?
Sure, anytime want to come on or ask questions or answer questions. Sure.
Oh yeah, most definitely. So, you know what time it is, Mike? Oh, let me tell you before you even answer. It's my favorite time of the show. It is shout out time. So, Mike, who do you have shout outs for?
I'm going to shout out to Lindsay Erickson. I know she's been a guest on here. Lindsay Erickson, who we all know is in the Oshkosh City Council, but Lindsay Erickson also is employed with the Winnebago County Health Department. We got this grant of $10.3 million from the state of Wisconsin. Lindsay Erickson wrote most, if not all, of that to get that grant. Lindsay Erickson is a true believer and does what she believes in and passionate for what she does. When we get money for the warming shelter, for the tiny villages, for this 80 share like thing for help homelessness, it's thanks to people like Lindsay Erickson.
That's awesome. Yeah. Did you say 10 million plus?
I believe $10.3 million. It's one of the biggest of the 5 they grant in the state. The county executive will announce it at the board meeting. The county still has to accept the money. We will, and then we'll have to do the disbursements. But most of it has been spoken for, I would say, or allocated for. But yeah.
All right, that's amazing. Any other shout outs?
No, other than I say Beth Roberts and the HRC. HRC is phenomenal. Their model is get to know us before you need us. They do phenomenal work. They have information specialists. They have reach out. If you are a senior in this community and you have questions, anything about, please call them. They can help you out. That's what their job is, either directly or indirectly. That's what one of the main things they do.
All right. All right, my shout outs. I normally have a ton of them, but this week I'm going to keep it kind of simple. One shout out is going out to Jensen's. I've got an opportunity to go to Jensen's recently. I had stopped going there for a bit, and now I had stopped in, had some amazing fish. Shout out to Charlie also, who was serving us that night. But it was just they've changed it. It's a little lighter in there, and they put new floors in there, a new flooring. It feels a little different in there. And so, I've been around here for a good number of years, and particularly in my neighborhood for over 20. And this Jensen's is in my neighborhood. This is a nice change for them. So I'm enjoying that. And at some point today, I think I'm actually going to try to talk my wife into going there. One of those things. I also like to send a big shout out to Parker Johns. Parker Johns, let me tell you this. I had a big group of my fraternity brothers here in town. We were doing some things, taking care of some business, and we went to Parker Johns as a large group. And let me tell you something. Even though Oshkosh has changed, but there's certain things Oshkosh still has its hesitancies, and we were probably I think it was a total of 14 to 15 black men in suits, and we walked into Parker Johns, and they served us with. They weren't the fastest, but that was just because we were 15 deep. I mean, you got to take your time, and I'd rather have the food good than have the food fast. But they served us with amazing service. We had an amazing server. They welcomed us. They made us feel good, and more importantly, the people of Oshkosh who were around said hi. They were super curious. I know they were just like, why are all these men here with these suits? And I want to know more. And they were like, and we had ladies talking to us, and they were like, oh my God, is there a movie being shot? They were like, it was all sorts of things being said at us. But nonetheless, it was a fun time, and the food was fabulous. Thank you, Parker Johns. I appreciate you.
Now where's that located?
Parker Johns? Parker Johns is over there by the university. Okay. It went into the, you know, what was the restaurant that was there before you? Mahoney's. It went into the Mahoney spot. And their barbecue was really good, particularly their brisket. So people had asked me, shout out to Burb, because Burb was like, hey, is it good? I was like, yeah, bro, the brisket is fire. Go have the brisket. So, all right. So we're at the end of the show, and there is only one thing left to do, and that is the parting words of wisdom. Mike, what do you got first?
Comes from a song from the En Vogue, Free Your Mind, and the rest will follow.
I can't. I mean, there's nothing else you can say. And the fact that you quoted En Vogue, I have nothing. That was brilliant. Let me tell you, the Kosh.